So smithing and upgrading weapons. There is a smithing table very close to the start of the game. I hope you found it. If you didn't, go back to where you started and follow that first guidance of grace. Now the smithing screen does look a bit bewildering at first, but thankfully the systems are actually pretty simple. So let's just run through the layout real quick. Your runes are shown at the top here. All upgrades will cost money. This grid works just like your inventory. There's tabs at the top, and the rune cost for each upgrade is shown beneath the portrait. Above the grid is a little bit of text which shows us what kind of upgrade material we need, the quantity needed, and the amount we have in our inventory. All the smithing stone types have a rank, which is this number in the square brackets, so try and read these names as smithing stone rank 1, for example. All of this stuff over on the other side just shows us then how the weapon will change if we upgrade. So if we look at these arrows, we can see the sort of before and after values. Attributes that will change are shown in blue, and it won't just be damage numbers. The attribute scaling will improve, and sometimes other aspects might improve, like the guard boost can go up on a shield. So, Ashes of War next. These do two things. They allow you to change an armament's skill, and then they also let you change an armament's affinity, which is something that affects the damage type it can do and the attribute scaling. The screen for this is almost identical to the smithing screen. First you choose a weapon, and then you're prompted to choose an ash. You can change this central panel to read about what the skill does. Once you've selected one, you then are prompted to select an affinity. So these are a little bit confusing at first, so I'm using an example with a late game character to help it make a bit more sense. So like I just said, the affinities affect the damage type and scaling. So there are physical and magical affinities. Physical affinities don't change the damage type, they just affect the scaling. So for example, you can use the heavy affinity type to change a weapon's scaling to be more based on strength. And magical affinities change the scaling and the damage type. So for example, you can add a sacred affinity, which changes the scaling to be more based on faith, and it will add some holy damage to your attacks. You don't need to remember all of this stuff. You can see the effects shown in the numbers as you highlight and try out the different options. At the start of the game, you'll only really be able to use the affinities that are tied to the skills. So for example, I've just picked up this bloody slash skill, but it only lets me choose normal or blood affinity when I'm applying it and nothing else. But as you progress the game, you'll find these items called wet blades, which will then allow you to chop and change and use different affinities on different skills and mix them up however you like. As a final note, I'd really recommend you try out as many Ashes of War as you can. They have really cool effects that sometimes aren't quite apparent just from reading the descriptions.